Today, we're going to talk about a mistake that costs teams thousands, tanks morale, and can absolutely poison your company's culture. We are talking about desperation hiring. Let's get right into it. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in that spot? A critical role is open, the pressure is just mounting, and you're so tempted to just hire the next person who seems good enough. Yeah, we've all been there. But honestly, if that feels familiar, it's a huge red flag that something in your process is broken. And let's be crystal clear about the stakes here. This isn't some small slip-up. Rushing to fill a seat, look, it's one of the single most expensive and soul-crushing mistakes you can make as a leader, period. So this is what we call the desperation hiring trap. It's that feeling, that gut-wrenching urgency to just fill the role. It whispers in your ear, telling you to go with the candidate who's fine, the one who checks some of the boxes. Just get a body in the chair, right? But what we're about to see is that good enough is almost always a disaster in disguise. And this scenario is so common, right? A key player on your team quits. A huge project is already falling behind schedule. And suddenly, all eyes are on you to fix it. That pressure builds and builds every single day. And the temptation to just compromise, to just lower the bar to make the pain stop, it can be overwhelming. So what's actually going on inside our heads when we're in this high-pressure state? Well, there's this powerful little mental shortcut, a cognitive bias that takes over. It's called the contrast principle. And trust me, this is the hidden force that's derailing so many hiring decisions. Okay, so here's how the contrast principle gets you. Imagine you've just interviewed a string of really weak candidates. Then the next person who walks in is just okay. They're not great, just okay. But compared to the last few people, they look like an absolute rock star. And that's the trap. You stop judging them against the high standard for the job and start judging them against the last person who bombed the interview. And this is the critical mindset shift you have to make. The wrong way, the trap, is comparing candidate A to candidate B. That just leads you to picking the least bad option from the pool. The right way is to compare every single candidate to a fixed, objective standard for the role. The only question that truly matters is this person the right fit for the job? Period. Not, are they better than the last person I talked to? So what happens when you make that least bad choice? The consequences are huge. People think the cost of a bad hire is just their salary. That's not even the tip of the iceberg. The real cost is everything hidden beneath the surface, and it's so much bigger. The real price you pay is in time, energy, and trust. Think about it. You're wasting time fixing their mistakes. You're draining your own energy managing their poor performance. And maybe worst of all, you're eroding the trust of your best people, the ones who are forced to pick up all the slack. It's like a domino effect. That one bad decision tips over a whole line of problems. First, you're constantly redoing their work. Then, the rest of your team starts losing confidence in you. Your top performers, they get burnt out and frustrated, and some might even start looking for the exit. And after all that chaos, you end up having to let the person go, and you're right back at square one, only now your team's morale is in the gutter. So yeah, the hiring process can be really broken from the inside. But you know what? It's just as broken for people on the outside trying to get in. Get this. A staggering 75% of resumes are rejected by those automated screening bots, the applicant tracking systems, before a human being ever even lays eyes on them. It just shows how tough this whole game is. Which actually brings me to our sponsor, mobilecv.ai. If you're a job seeker, this is for you. They solve that exact ATS problem. Their AI can take pretty much any document you have and turn it into a perfectly formatted, bot-beating CV in like 60 seconds. Best part? There's no monthly subscription. You pay as you go, and you even get 3 free credits to try it out. It's a fantastic way to make sure a real person actually gets to see your qualifications. All right, so how do we fix this mess? How do we actually break this cycle of desperation hiring? The good news is, it's not some crazy, complicated overhaul. It really boils down to 2 simple but incredibly powerful first steps. Step 1, just pause. Seriously, before you do anything else, create what's called a job scorecard. Get super clear and define exactly what success in this role looks like at 90 days, 180 days, and at the 1-year mark. What do they absolutely have to achieve? Okay, step 2, that scorecard is now your non-negotiable quality bar. You have to commit to it. Do not lower that bar, no matter how intense the pressure gets. I promise you, the short-term pain of having an empty seat is nothing compared to the long-term agony of having the wrong person filling it.
And if you need one final gut check before you make an offer, ask yourself this one simple question. Would I bet my entire business on this person? If you hesitate, even for a split second, that's your answer. The answer is no. Don't do it. The standard has to be that high.
Okay, so those 2 steps are your immediate fix. They'll stop you from making a terrible hire today. But what about the long game? How do you prevent that feeling of desperation from ever creeping in again? The strategy is simple, and it's a classic for a reason. Always be recruiting. What does that actually mean? It means you are always connecting with sharp, talented people in your field, even when you have 0 open positions. You're building relationships, you're keeping a running list of dream hires, people you'd love to work with one day. So when a position does suddenly open up, you're not panicking and starting from 0. You're starting with a warm pipeline of amazing people you already know.
And look, I'm speaking from experience here. I've been burned by this myself. Early in my career, I rushed a hire because we were on a tight deadline and they seemed, good enough. Fast forward 3 months and our project was even further behind. My team was completely demoralized and we were honestly worse off than when the seat was empty. It was a painful but valuable lesson. You never, ever compromise on quality just to be fast. And really, that's the bottom line. An empty chair is a temporary problem. It's annoying, but it's solvable. A bad hire, on the other hand, is a slow, expensive cancer that spreads and creates a dozen new problems you never saw coming. The right person is always, and I mean always, worth waiting for. So, I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you feel that pressure building, that voice telling you to just fill the role, I want you to stop and ask yourself, what is the real long-term cost of my next good enough hire going to be? Think about that. Thanks for tuning in.